Alright guys, welcome back. Survival Living here. So today's video is about this power grid, the power grid failure actually in Mexico. Now guys, this has not affected the United States as far as I know as of today. But it is something that we can look at and prepare for as preppers. Now we will go into greater details. There should be some pop-ups coming up here for you guys. It was around 20 of Mexico's 32 states were affected by Tuesday's rolling power outages, and actually lasted for 5-6 hours. All right. Now, from my understanding, the temperatures were ranging from about 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah. As preppers, we try to prepare for as many things as possible, and one is power failure. All right. So it's not just the end-all be-all EMP attacks that knock out the grid or coronal mass ejections. This is just from a massive use of power. As a matter of fact, let me pull this back up here. The national power total demand was around 44.9 gigawatts, just under the net generation of 45 gigawatts. So they hit the demand right there at the ceiling of what they could actually produce and wound up shutting things down. Now for 5 to 6 hours, you say, well, anybody could just walk outside. Not 113 degree weather. That's brutal. All right. We try to teach everybody to prepare for what we call shit hits the fan, which is natural disasters, and this is one of them. Power grid failure during a heat wave is deadly. It can be. Doesn't matter to me what it is that you use for alternative power. As a prepper, I try to look at many different ways, and we show them here on the channel. My go-to, my favorite one of all, is having your own solar. All right, we've done reviews and actually showed you how to build your own solar grid. As a matter of fact, should be a pop-up here. Yeah, that is a deployable solar grid right there. Battery banks are all hooked up to EMP Shield to protect it. We have our inverters, we have our charge controllers, and all I have to do is take my cables outside, plug in my solar panels. Reason why it's not plugged in right now, where I live at, I'm not allowed to mount solar panels on the house. So I have a standby unit, easy to deploy. Another way, solar generators. All right, those things are great to have. They are limited though. All right, solar grids you can build on and make them much, much larger. Solar generators, you're limited. Same with gasoline generators. Okay, gasoline generators, propane generators, tri-fuel, whatever. You're limited on how much fuel you can store. And that's just the way it is. All right. So any of these options is still an option. All right. At 113 degrees outside, you have no air condition, no fans blowing, no lights, nothing. It's going to get hot in your house. It's going to get really hot really quick. Now with this, at 113, 115 degree temperature, I had a pop-up, and let's see if I can find it here for you guys. I think it was Reuters, what to do during a heat wave to cool off. There it is right here. Zen, all right, Zen blog. Getting through a heat wave without electricity. Some are unique. Prepare for a heat wave. Check and update your home insulation. Yeah, if you have the availability, get you some good insulation. It'll help keep your house cooler. Purchase non-electric items for backup. Battery-powered fan, water misting spray bottles, ice chests for food and water, solar-powered batteries for charging small electronics. Well, yeah, the water misting spray bottles I'm not really sure about, but I've never used it. Ice chests for food and water. Well, large enough power outage in your area, heat wave, a lot of people is going to be going for ice. There might not be any ice around, so you got that going. Create some shade outside. Yeah, you know, sometimes you have to get outside the house because that house is going to turn into a hot box. Let the breeze in. Open up windows, doors. Let a cross breeze, natural cross breeze. Unfortunately, most homes are not set up that way. They're not designed to allow ventilation going through cross breezing. It's just they got away from that architect. Cool down with water. Take a cold shower. That there I'm not quite sure about. If you have a grid failure, well, if you're in the city and you have a grid failure, odds are your water is not going to be running. So I don't know how you're going to rely on that one. But if you got a pool, yeah, you can cool your core temperature down. I do it all the time doing outdoor survival. It'd be hot as can be in the middle of summertime. I'll find a creek and I'll get down in there. I'll get my core temp back down. And sometimes I have to hit it multiple times a day. It's just that hot. Step outside or in a cooler room. Inside your house, it's going to be hot either way. Don't cook indoors. Now that's actually a very good point. If you have no power and it's hot as can be outside, it's getting hot in your home, you don't want to fire up a propane stove or anything like that, because it will get very, very hot. And then you also have to worry about ventilation inside your home. So there's a couple good ideas and a couple questionable ideas. I really push hard on alternative power, even if it's just a gasoline generator, guys. That way you can at least get a fan going. Large enough generator, yeah, you can run those window units. I believe our window unit that we were running at the time was 300 some watts of power. I mean, the 2,000 watt solar generators, you know, that's producing 4 to 5 hours of air conditioning during a heat wave. It will run a box fan, multiple box fans for, you know, all day, all night. Gasoline generators, yeah, they'll pull it as long as you got fuel for it. Yeah, absolutely. Big thing is, if you don't have fuel stocked up, power's out, odds are you're not going to be able to go to the gas station and get fuel, because they're probably out of power as well. So these are things I definitely recommend keeping water on hand, because if the water goes off because the power's out, you're going to need water. And if the stores are closed because the power's out, they don't have a way of powering up to, you know, say anything, you're pretty much screwed. All right. This is another reason why we push on water filtration. Now, we can only store so much water, guys. I understand that. I run into the same problems as you do. It takes up a lot of room. The amount of water a person really needs is more than the 1 gallon that, I don't know where the idea come from, per person. Maybe a short term, but a long term outage and stuff, you're going to be using a lot more. I've done so many outdoor survival videos why I'm going through water. I'm probably drinking 3.5 gallons of water a day. It's just that hot out. Yeah, you have to have water coming in. So water is very important. Water filtration. Again, guys, look at your, sorry, that gremlin came back. Look at the maps. All right, I've shown pulling up satellite imagery of your home, the topographical map on Google Maps. Look for retention ponds, water ditches, things like that, that you know that you can actually go to and actually go out there and take a look at it. Now, with retention ponds and stuff like that, guys, there can be all kind of contaminants that leach into the ground and leach into your water. So you want an appropriate water filter. If you're in the city and doing that, a Sawyer Mini and a Life Straw is not going to filter that out, unless it's a particular brand, you know, level of them that deals with chemicals, heavy metals, pesticide. Just your normal $20 one is only good for bacteria, and that's not enough. I have seen the comments where people say, well, I will go back to the forefathers and make a 3-tier with grass, dirt, and charcoal. Well, our forefathers didn't invent that, by the way. That's actually bushcrafters invented that. That is good for removing particulates in the water. All right, it might catch some bacteria. I would say you run a 60 to 70% chance of clearing out any imperfections in the water, but it is not going to be clearing out chemicals or pesticide. So just having that as a that's a last emergency ditch water filtration system is what that is. Can it save your life? Yeah. Can contaminants pass through that thing? Absolutely, it can. These things right here, I've done videos on making those. I highly recommend that water gets boiled, because the material is so packed loosely, especially when it comes to the charcoal. Bacteria can slide through that. Pathogens can get through there. That's why I do recommend boiling that water on those 3-tier sets. Just saying, well, I know to do that and I'm good to go doesn't mean so. All right. How do I know? Oh, I've had dysentery a few times in my life. All right. part of it was I was doing a survival training course, and the other time I just messed up and I got hold of water that was bad. So I don't drink from streams. I know there's plenty of outdoor survivalists that, you know, on TV and stuff, and one of them I love following. I love Les Stroud. Love his stuff. He doesn't filter out his water. I've had dysentery, and I filter out my water. I do not mess around with it, because when it does kick in, it is debilitating. It's rough. It really is. So I recommend filtering that stuff out, guys. Of course, power outages, go to the normal stuff. Just depends on how long it is. Do you have food in your home? Do you have ways of cooking it? Again, I mentioned about gas stoves and stuff like that, little propane stoves. Take them outside. You can cook that way. You can cook on a grill, all right, outdoors too. I mean, we got an outdoor grill. I love using it. Have ways of cooking up food, boiling water right there. So you're going to need to keep propane or whatever it is that you use a fuel source for that. So you have that. It is nice to be able to run lights and stuff at night instead of bumbling around in the dark. Of course, having flashlights and stuff is great to have. We have regular flashlights you got to put batteries in. We also have rechargeable flashlights that we can plug into our solar bank. We can plug into solar generators. We can plug into a regular generator. I even have those little small rectangular solar bank batteries for, you know, videotaping. And make sure I said videotaping. Man, I am so old. So with this, guys, even though it's affecting Mexico only, this can happen here, especially with the threats of hacker attacks. They're all constantly attacking. They've been open about it now that our infrastructure grid, power grid, water, all that stuff is under attack by cyber threats. All right. All it takes is a stroke of a button, shut your stuff off. Shut off a whole area. You know, when they had the substation attacks, yeah, whole towns were without power. Now, granted, they could have left town to somewhere to go get power, but it's just nicer to have your own supplies, your own stuff to generate, be self-sufficient. That's what we try to teach here. All right, guys, appreciate you hanging out with me. Speak to y'all later.